the conversations where it's like everyone is selling something with AI these days.
The introvert actually converts more consistently.
But that was exactly what we wanted. We wanted people to start talking.
Pitch decks lie, rehearsed demos hide reality, and most founders look great until things get uncomfortable. That is exactly why Kent Richeson set out to expose. Kent is the creator of Pitch and the new show, The Cut, a next generation take on The Apprentice, but better. No fluff, no safety nets, just real pressure that reveals how founders actually think, react, and lead. In this episode, we break down what investors are really watching for, why behavior under stress matters more than the perfect pitch, and how quickly the mask comes off when stakes are real. This isn't just about startups. It's about decision-making, resilience, coachability, and whether someone actually has what it takes when things don't go according to plan. If you're a founder, an investor, or anyone building under pressure, this episode will change how you evaluate talent, leadership, and potential. Let's get into it. All right, Ken, I am so excited for this episode on Revenue Rascals today because I love all things pitches. I love all things money, all things revenue, and you are just like bringing it in hot today. And we're going to talk about, first thing I want to talk about right now is pitch, because when I first moved to Utah and I was working with Kiln, they were a client of mine, and I saw you on the event schedules and I'm like, who is this guy? This is the best name I've ever heard. What's a pitch? So let's start right there with letting the audience know what exactly is pitch.
Pitch is a reverse thinking on giving the investor what you think that they want. Most often, founders think that they just want, as an investor, a product, a service, a solution. In most cases, yes, that's needed, but really what they want is, can I trust you to get my ROI back? And are you cool enough that I want to hang with you and actually go down this journey that's going to be ins and outs and highs and lows? So ultimately, we're creating this scene in which we can help founders display more of who instead of just what to investors. So that's pitch.
I love it. So can you give the audience just like, what's the format of it, of the events that you've done leading up to this point? Because it's a really unique format and we need to share it.
So I have founders pitch twice on stage. First, they pitch a really bad business idea they've never heard of. They come onto the stage completely ignorant to whatever topic it is. So it's impromptu. They take 15 minutes and create a business pitch deck related to it. So they take this bad idea, let's say shoes for chickens or pigeon messaging, something along those lines that clearly this business should not be in this world, right? And the topic is just stupid. And they take that and they actually have to create a pitch deck that then they come up on stage and pitch it within 3 to 5 minutes to the audience and try and help sell the narrative and give us some insight. After that, they jump right into their real business pitch, which they do like 3 to 5 minutes as well. So we get this taste and flavor of both sides of who this person is and then what this person is doing. And combined, you end up seeing this world of amazing different things, which I'm sure we'll jump into in a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so important because, there's a parallel here with sales as well, just like getting your clients. When you go to get money to be funded, like you're pitching, it's the same thing that you would pitch to a client, like come buy my products. And at a certain stage of go-to-market, a certain stage of startups, a lot of founders get deals because who the founder is, not necessarily the product. And this is something that everybody needs to be listening to right now because the founder's journey is super hard, but also really fun. Of course, if somebody can do a silly pitch and then be serious, like, yeah, I want to go have a beer with you or hang out or like, let's go to a party. Like, this is great. Yeah. This is like my party trick.
You can be
and
a
it
human.
Also takes... Yeah. You would be a human and it takes down the friction. Like, it's really like, that's a very stressful thing to be pitching your business, to be asking for money.
Which one did you go to? Was that like 2 years ago when we first started then?
Yeah, it was like, I can't, I just remember it being really fun, but I can't remember the date or anything, but it was a long time ago.
I wonder if you were at one of like the first ones. It was a smaller room.
Yes, it was a smaller room. And I mean, it took that long for then I was here and I saw you at the last event and I was like, I'm going to go introduce myself. We need to be connecting here. So, but on stage on the last event we went to with the chicken shoes, oh my gosh, that was so fun. I loved that one.
They did great.
Okay. So Kent, let's talk about the origin story of this. Like, tell me about who's Kent and how did you arrive at like, this is what I'm going all in on?
I worked for my father at, I built a shooting range in Oregon years back. And at the same time, we were building different products for firearms and that kind of thing that would then be teamed up with Ruger and the other brands that were pretty cool. And that started like this entrepreneurial train, but it also kickstarted this trust component that I had in the back of my mind. And a lot of the business that we were doing, it required crucial amount of trust and understanding who and why these random dudes in small town Oregon were calling a company such as Ruger or Henry or etc. Okay. And that led me into this world of possibilities if, yeah, sure, you know the right people, but also if you're providing a realistic opportunity for somebody and you know you can deliver. And so that's kind of like the essence of like where this started. And then it springboarded into me working for a fractional CFO firm, as well as a fractional fund administration firm, where we helped investors with spinning up funds and SPVs and that kind of thing. And in the process, I was shipping out decks to investors, helping founders out with connections, but most often it was falling short because it was just, here's the deck, check it out. I'm not doing anything else. Here it is, right? And sure, you can have the conversations via lunch and do all this studying and everything else, which is critical. But I knew that there was a piece that was missing in that process. And so that's where some of that origin started in creating this.
Yes, I love that. And you're like, okay, and I've built my own business. I've been behind the scenes for investors. I've been fractionally supporting at executive level. And here's the gap that I see. And this is what we're going to go do. I love that so much because it's from like every single angle. Like I think about my origin story or how I ended up where I am right now. And if just one thing changed, it would not be where I am today. Just like every little thing stacks up to change like what your future is and how you learn to help people. And it's why I started Revenue Rascals, because I was so tired of the same stuff being regurgitated and failing to help startups. And I'm like, no, you guys are all focusing on so many things that are wrong. I'm going to get these guys out there. I'm going to get myself out there. And we're going to talk about the way that you do things, and the way you get money, and the way that you grow. And it was funny, right before we jumped on, everybody, and Ken and I were talking about how important it is that revenue always comes first. Money always comes first in a business. So whatever's on your calendar, it gets rescheduled if it gets in the way of making money for the day. And, you know, that's just like, we're like kindred spirits. I'm like, yes.
Literally, like I didn't fill out, you know, some of the information just because I was working with investors and working on the deal flow narrative. So yeah. Yes, no, revenue first.
Exactly. So tell me, what was one of your favorite pitches that you have seen? Like, and when I say favorite, it could be funniest, it could be most successful, it could be the most contrarian, like you pick.
We get so many different people on the show. So I've toured. Last year we did, I think, 9 cities last year nationally. And then this year we did 15 plus India. And in the scope of it, we've seen all walks of life of founders, very arrogant, very confident, very, simple to even introverted, right? So I've seen quite a few. Some would think that the individuals that are the most funny or entertaining are actually the ones that win. And there is some truth to it that if you're not conveying that story or that narrative, that like it's difficult. But the introverts are actually the ones that rise to the top most often, which is really fascinating. I'll give you an example. It was actually here in Utah. He had the topic of silent karaoke. Did you go to that one by chance?
No, I don't think I did, but I think I remember hearing about this, but this sounds great. Keep going.
Okay. So CNBC filmed this one, and all pressure on. I'm already pitting out stress and sweating, right? On the sense of what we've got in store. And usually the founders step up and like deliver like a comedic narrative of some kind, right? So I'm expecting at least something. This one gentleman stepped up and was like, I know I have silent karaoke and that topic just sounds ridiculous, but I actually have a family member that is deaf. And I think I can actually sell this to you with a real intent that maybe there's something here. And it just set the mood and the tone of who we were getting pitched and delivered to, and not just another over-rehearsed, oh, now we're just over-rehearsing like this comedy component. No, we're looking at this person and they hit. He delivered on the point of his feel of sincerity. He was very introverted, okay? But everyone was laughing. They were enjoying the moment. They felt the compelling stories. I actually teared up because of some of the comments that were made and the way it was staged. For only having like 15 minutes of prepare time to delivering something that can actually impact a person on so many emotions, literally was insane to witness and be involved in. So that would probably be the best, I'd say, performance that we've seen.
So what was his real business? What was he pitching after that?
He had a Nonsense was the company, and it's for translating or helping people understand different languages through media. So you could learn Spanish through watching a movie, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've seen, I attempted to learn Spanish last year. So I remember looking through all of the options. I got to maybe like a kindergarten level, but that one went by the wayside. Maybe 2026. So, the parallel that I see here when someone can make a heart-centered pitch and is an introvert. And, a lot of times, like my specialty within being a CRO is sales team performance. So everybody has like a different specialty. It might be like e-com or whatever it is. Mine is sales team performance. And, so often founders are like, I'm going to hire the personality. Like the personality hire is the first one I'm going to hire. And this person's going to help me like crush at sales, or just even if you're scaling your team, you're looking for the personality, yada, yada, yada. And I will tell you, after listening to thousands of sales calls, similar to how many pitches you've probably listened to, the introvert actually converts more consistently as a non-founder seller. And the reason why is because they shut up and they listen and they ask great questions and they care and they're empathetic, and it doesn't become like the Michelle show or the Kent show, et cetera, et cetera. So I see the same thing on the seller side, which is quite contrarian. A lot of people would be like, no way, like you're wrong. And I was like, well, you're more than welcome to listen to all the calls and make your own decisions, or you could just trust me, right? So it's, I see that as a parallel, and I find that like really, really interesting. And I enjoy giving the introvert the opportunity.
Yeah, I've been in sales for I don't know how many years, and this is still sales, right? And it's process. Everything is. Founders who say differently aren't actually creating something, in my opinion. You're always selling. But I think you hit it on the head. I think people sell people when they're honest and creating a relationship. I think that's the only time unless it's like a required feature or a required solution that you cannot get around, and this is the only option, and they've marketed it to the point where this is your only option, that's the only time that I think that personality doesn't win. But most often it's a relationship and trust. So
100%. And I love this conversation because there's so many parallels of pitching your business and selling. So it's fun for me. But one thing that I'm noticing and I want to ask you about is, everyone's like AI for like selling anything, AI sales agents. And I've installed them myself and they're amazing for the right application. However, something that I'm seeing, and I mostly like them for appointment setting, follow up. Right now I'm kind of dorking out on the new prospecting agent in HubSpot. There's all of these cool things that we can do. However, I actually think we're having a boomerang effect. And I want to see what your opinion is on this when it comes to pitching and being successful to get investors. Is we have now leaned on AI for a couple of years and people are like, nope, give me the humans back. I want the humans. I want someone that I clearly can see, I can shake hands with, their personality. I know that it's not AI, all of this stuff. So I think AI will continue to support sales functions for appointment setting, follow-up, all these things. I do not think that's going away. But when it comes to the closer role, initially, people are like, oh, AI is just going to do it, or it's all product-led. We're not going to need salespeople anymore. And I'm calling BS. There's absolutely no way. I think it's a boomerang effect to actually go the opposite direction quickly. So I'm curious on your opinion.
I'm conflicted on this one. I'm conflicted because I've seen a lot of investments happen with companies that are very lean, meaning like a handful of people on the team, and that's it. And most of it is start to finish closed without their involvement. But you said it early on, which is there's only certain areas that really can capitalize on that full scale, most of which I feel like if it's not super straightforward as far as like cookie cutter, here is your solution, I think you have to have the relationship gameplay into the piece. Where I think that there's like certain industries that have gotten screwed over and set themselves up in a bad trajectory, meaning like car salesmen, right? The car industry. Like my brother-in-law owns a car dealership and he's amazing. He's one of those guys that you go, okay, I actually can trust you and work through the process. Like, this is great. Fantastic. But I think for a start to end behavior without a human, those kinds of components that you're going to have to be relying on from getting you from point A to point B reliably as a, median or lower type individual that's not looking at a high tier car, even then, you're going to be working with an individual, still have to be on some sort of transaction level of a human being because of okay, if I walk away or drive away with this car, am I going to actually be able to drive away and not have to call you back and worry about X, Y, and Z? I think that's where a lot of like the Carvanas and others have still had to have those salespeople, even though they've tried the method of complete remote and removal of an individual.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that it really depends on the business, but still my favorite model is a hybrid. So I absolutely love product-led growth, especially to get initial people into a program or a service or whatever it can be. But I love the human touch for the upgrades, the custom selling, the just the expansion, retention, all of that.
Does the customer want that though? That's the real big question. If the customer doesn't actually want it, then no matter what, that person's going to have an uphill battle, AI or not.
100%, which is why you just have to go to market and see what fits your people, right? So for me, it's like, go to market, let's figure it out and rock and roll. So what are you seeing? Like, let's talk about AI for just a few moments. When people are preparing pitch decks or they're looking for investors, there's two ways I would love to hear your feedback on this. One is how AI is being used to refine pitches and to get money. And then two is, are you seeing out of all these companies that are pitching, is everyone have an AI element that's actually getting funding?
The AI component of the conversations where it's like everyone is selling something with AI these days has gotten a couple of major bugs in the works. One is it's oversaturated now, where founders just tack on AI, assuming that an API within AI is actually beneficial and something to advertise, when in actuality, Most companies assume that workflows, because that's really what you're using an API agent for anyways, is something that you should be implementing into your business regardless. If you're not, you're probably 10 years behind everybody. Now, that doesn't mean that it makes it more investable. It just means that that should be a standard. It should be like, that's your name. Like that should be just a given of you have a name that should be incorporated. Whether you put AI into the name itself, like Riverside AI, something like that. That to me just tells me that you're APIing in and mixing the signal of what you might actually or should actually have if you had AI in your name, which is an LLM or something that's actually innovative within your own infrastructure that's custom made, or something that is going to actually move a successful component that's not just a workflow, that's actually leveraging artificial intelligence the way we think that in the storybooks are moving that narrative, and not just something that's like a nicety or a workflow behavior. So that's where I lean into both of those worlds. If you're just pushing it for the sake of trend, it's not going to get you anywhere. If it's actually innovative and pushing the narrative of your company and making something bigger or badder or something of FOMO, hell yeah, leverage that all day, every day. I'll just say this on AI. The moment when you have price changes, updates, or a business failure or something going awry with the actual AI, ChatGPT, or Gemini, or whatever it be, it disrupts your actual business. So to be stating that you're dependent on somebody else's AI actually can hurt you in some aspects, not every aspects, but in some aspects. That's what I have to cross and highlight on that all day.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation, because if you think about like when Shopify went down, my husband's in the e-com business, and it was like the whole admin feature on Black Friday was out for everyone on Shopify. Like crazy. So dependent on something, right? I'm just bringing that up. Or when AWS went down, like you're dependent on something else.
On the CRO side, you have to control your narratives. If you can't control it, you're dependent on somebody else and you lose every time, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about everything that is changing for Pitch and your new show that's coming up. Talk to us about the evolution that is happening right now.
Well, as of a month and a half ago, Pitch is no longer in existence. It is now called The Cut, and it'll become a TV show. We'll film the TV pilot in January, the day before Sundance Film Festival. And then we'll move on to the actual filming of the season 1 mid next year. So hopefully we can get pre-production going and everything like that as we have planned.
All right. So I need to know about this. Clearly, I can think for a lot of reasons why you switched the name. I mean, I'm a big fan of it, but like you're going to go network, probably can't have in it, right? So I'm curious about the evolution.
Funny is we actually can have the name in there, but networks were like, hey, this just nudge, wink, wink. If you want it in there, the issue is actually going to be around marketing. So if you can't display it on certain other networks to advertise or social medias or etc., it's going to be more difficult to actually get eyes on the show. They're like, you can do it, you can have the name, but it's just going to be more of a hiccup. And here's the evolution of really the easy situation of why we changed it. So Pitch at the infancy was to stir the pot and really shake everyone from saying, oh, this is just a normal thing. We could have gone with a very generic name, but what it did for us was stir up those that are cult believers versus non-believers. I had, I don't know, I still get them today. Emails saying like, how dare you make fun of founders? How dare you're the worst person to put profanity in your name, and like not death threats, but definitely threats of like, how dare you mentality. But that was exactly what we wanted. We wanted people to start talking and have the conversation inadvertently without me, whether it was good or bad. And it worked really well. And so that was its first year of, we're shaking a tree. How can we make this impactful and loud? And so that was what we did with zero budget, by the way.
Which I love, which is why I'm shooting a money gun and calling my show Revenue Rascals on the cover. Like, I'd like people to talk about that. The girl with the money gun. I'll take it. Totally fine. It did take me 3 hours to get that shot because if you've ever shot a money gun before, it clogs. So anyway, long story short. I love it. All right. So then talk to us about, is anything changing with the format with the show coming out?
So I'll lead up to it. So last year, CNBC filmed one of the episodes, and that's where we were like, okay, we've got something. We don't know what exactly. I know it needs to be a show, but how? And that's when, during the national tour this year, we actually figured out about midway of okay, this is just going to be an episode. Pitch is just one component of the larger TV show, which fits so nicely into not naming it pitch. This is something bigger, which is what led into the whole intent of this at the very beginning anyways. So now the setup and the show will be, the first couple episodes will be really pushing similar to a Shark Tank, where we validate business, the what, and running through a high volume of founders and finding companies that are producing revenue, have good things rolling from LOIs. Is it an investable business? Do we have something that's actually tangible in there? And then after that, we can actually dive into the people. So the next set of 8 episodes will be mental challenges to push the boundaries of who we're investing in, and pitch will be just one of those tests as we go through the dilemmas. As a reality show, it'll be a competitive situation, much like an apprentice or something along those lines. So,
oh my gosh, I just got so excited. I love that.
Sick, right? Yeah, that's gonna be great.
I'm obsessed with Shark Tank. I love all pitching, all things business, but your take on this, I mean, I love that you're going to be challenging them and the dilemmas, and their personalities will come out, because, I always say, before you go any commitment to anybody, it could be a partner, a business, anything, if you don't pressure test it, you might not be happy afterwards. So it's take a road trip with your fiance. How'd it go? Right? Certain things like that.
This is real story then. I didn't do that with my first wife, and I should have. We got married within the first 4 months of dating each other. Wild. Don't get me wrong. It works for other people. That's great. But I didn't see her in all the seasons. I didn't get a taste of what was going on. And so this second time of getting married, that was definitely, and one of the components leading into a lot of psychology of the show itself was, okay, how do we understand a partner? And so going through this next marriage, I told my wife, now we were married. We got married, everything worked out. Was I can't get married until we at least go through a full year of just seeing each other in different scenarios of good, bad, ugly, snowy, rainy, all that stuff. And yeah,
oh my gosh. So did you do a road trip? What was your pressure test?
Oh yeah. We actually, we went on so many road trips. One of the first times I met her family, we all jumped in a big van and drove up to Idaho.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Rascals, let me ask you this. How much money have you wasted replacing shoes, sneakers, or even bags that could have lasted way longer if only you'd been taken better care of them? I know for me, running from meetings to kids' activities, life gets messy fast. And that's why I always have Jason Mark Quick Wipes on hand. Jason Mark is trusted care to help you get the most out of what you wear. They're not just about cleaning. They're about protecting what you love while protecting the planet. Their wipes are now 100% plant-based and plastic-free, made from renewable lyocell fibers. They're individually wrapped so you can toss them in your bag, your car, or like me, your kids' backpacks. And it's not just convenience. Jason Mark is part of the worldwide B Corp movement, meeting the highest standards for social and environmental impact. They're EPA Safer Choice certified, so you know the formulas are safe for your family. And their products are USDA, bio-based, and certified biodegradable. That means no harmful junk like PFAS or VOCs. Just high-performance care that keeps your stuff looking fresh while doing right by the planet. Personally, as a busy mom and entrepreneur, quick wipes are my favorite. They've saved my sneakers from coffee spills, playground dust, you name it. One wipe and I'm ready to walk into my next meeting looking sharp. So here's the deal. Go to jasonmark.com and use promo code Revenue Rascals at checkout for 25% off your order. One time per customer. Again, that's jasonmark.com, code Revenue Rascals. And remember, this podcast is free thanks to sponsors like Jason Mark. I'm ungating sales strategies people pay me six figures for. So go support them, grab your quick wipes or your favorite product, and keep your kicks looking fresh.
So there's a couple of components here. You have the show, you clearly have the founders who are pitching, but there's also the investor side, which we haven't talked about yet. So talk to me about how you are building the investor side of this business, who's the right person, how you're building that community, and what that looks like from a reality standpoint for founders who will be on the show.
So high level, we'll have three components to the show. First is the show itself. We'll supplement people coming in and out and investing in from an investor community. And then we'll create a fund as well. So we'll put our money where our mouth is in providing that aspect as well. Between those three things, we hope that we have something that's authentically real and actual investment opportunities, and not just something that's passive or posts a Shark Tank where, you hear the horror stories of 90% are not actually funded, even though the commitments are there. Ones that do get funded are good, successful companies, but then a lot of due diligence goes post. And that's what we want to try and capture, are those relationships and conversations that are happening after those initial business strategy moments. Is, do we see more of that? We don't. We want to see more of that so that we can be prepared to go into that properly as just general founders as well as investors.
Oh yeah, I'm always curious what happens after Shark Tank, and they never really talk about it. It's like you find it in the news like randomly
here
later.
And there. Yeah,
exactly. Or they're like, from 3 years ago, this company is doing well, right? And I was like, no,
but it's all positioning for just the ones that are doing well, right? Like you never see the narrative of what's gone south, which are a ton. I chatted with the guys over Season Ireland who did one of the Ireland Dragon's Den, and they're like, yeah, we actually threw in like a third of them were just preposterous, crazy companies that we knew they shouldn't get funded, but they were just wild for the TV show itself, and they were the ones getting funded, which was hysterical. They're like, what's going on here? Like, these should not be funded, guys. Like, stop, kind of thing. So anyways, to your question, investors, we're the pool of which we're looking for to put in the investor community, the fund, and be involved with the room itself are angels, high net worth individuals, a lot of family offices. We dabble with VCs, but for the most part, they're a little bit slower on the cash side of deploying, and working more in relationship and less on just the stats is what we're after. And so a lot of those companies with the family offices and angels are the ones we work with exclusively.
Okay, so that goes to my follow-up question. So if somebody's listening right now, so the people who listen to this podcast are exactly the people who are going to watch your show or participate in your show. So this is perfectly aligned. If a founder is listening to this and saying, oh my gosh, I want to be on this show, like I want to be part of this, what profile of business are you looking for so they can know initially if they're a good match? And then what would be their next steps to get involved?
They have to have revenue and or LOIs that are significant to make an impact. If we're talking early stage napkin drawing, not the right fit yet. Doesn't mean that you're not the right fit ever. It just means timing, and that's not a problem. We have to have companies that show momentum of something of tangible nature, so that they're not just being judged on the company, but we can actually look at them as an individual, or else we're only going to be stuck on the company side and we're not going to be able to move past it, and probably not get an investment anyways. So that's number one, is you got to have something of traction, revenue and or significant LOIs. For sure, heading into a raise itself, you have to be raising capital or else it's not worth it. If you're a service-based company or something that might not be necessarily investment worthy, and recognizing that, okay, we can 10x, 100x this company in its size within a given time frame, probably not the right company to come on the show. They've got to have something that can show a return on investment and purpose for getting involved. Not to say that that company isn't great. It's just that's what we need in order to show out investor qualification. It's got to have FOMO. It's got to be innovative. It's got to be something that's not just another Me Too. Me Toos are fine if it's got another component of a secret sauce that helps us go, oh, that's what this market is missing. You're right. We have to have that. Or why didn't we think of that before? Yes, it's so silly that we didn't think of that. That component, that's what we're looking for in this process. Whether your personality matches the product or not, that's hearsay. We'll dive into that world later. What we're really looking for are those three main factors: revenue, LOI, and then industry fit. And does it actually have something that can drive ROI?
Yes, I love that. And we are definitely in an economy of what I like to call that have to have it economy. Nice to have, nice to have is nice to have. So it's not as dependable for a growth model. So this is definitely a have to moment. I was asking for a lot of reasons. One, because I want anybody listening to know, but I recently did a guest interview for the founder of Indie Stove. It's a new outdoor stove and grill that's Utah founder based. And he just went to market. Like, he just had his first couple hundred stoves built.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, it's so cool because the reason why I loved him is he called it Indie Stove, INDE, but it's a play on independence. He's a veteran. He's in, like, my guess is his 60s. And he wanted to allow people to be independent wherever they are, to cook whatever they want. And so you can literally bake cookies at 350 degrees in the middle of nowhere with his fuel sources. And when I saw him at one of the local shows I went to, and I totally pressed all the pressure buttons. I was like, well, does it do this? But then the other ones do this and then that. And then I was like, then it's going to be dirty. Like, look, then I have to fold it and put it in there, and that's going to be gross. And he's like, no, this is the sleeve. And then, so he had a rebuttal for everything. And then I was like, oh, I need you on my show. Like, this is so cool. So once he starts making money, I actually think he would be an incredible candidate for your show. And he's sponsoring my show now, which is thrilling to me. So I have, so I have my Indie Stove that I'm going to do like some unpacking for. So I'll share it with you. But anyway, to me, if you're an outdoors person, you have to have that stove. And it's not a nice to have, it replaces everything. So I want to challenge everyone listening right now is it can be something that simple, in my opinion. Like, it's filling a gap in the outdoor cooking that doesn't exist. You go from 5 things to 1, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm wondering if you could build on that a little bit of the have to economy, some things that you're seeing that are just like fire and investors are going after or you're intrigued by.
Robotics, and then AI heading into the robotics space is probably the most hot topic, in my opinion, right now. We also have a lot of innovation companies coming on where they're life science focused or med tech that are really pushing some cool boundaries. Anything that is going to be that innovative next generation component is huge. Now, on the CPG side, I still plug in and pull in companies all the time that are CPG based, but they've got to have that additional flavor of why is it needed, to your point, and not just like, hey, this is a nice thing. Don't get me wrong, nice things can and should be out in the world. But I look at like the Cotier diapers. Like, I've got a 1-year-old, okay? And obviously the component is really compelling on Cotier, where it's the simplicity of things instead of more. So even the opposite is a win, where that's innovative. Instead of all the Mickey Mouses and doodads on the diapers themselves that parents don't really care about, they've gone to the basics of, here is the most clean diaper that you can have, and it's more expensive. Like, mind-blowing that you could play that game, but that's the kind of positioning that it's a needed solution. It is, it's going to be sold because it's required on a consistent basis, and it's pushing a narrative that is simple and like people are actually interested in. That's a winner to me.
Absolutely. And I mean, all you have to do is have one diaper rash from a diaper. And then you're like, not doing that again. I'll pay any price you ask me for.
100%. Yep.
And that's done. I mean, I have a 9 and 13-year-old, so it's been a while, but I can tell you, I would switch in a heartbeat anytime anything irritated, because who wants to deal with that? Like, no, thank you.
So the same to the gentleman with the stove, indie stove, is that if it's pushing that boundary of, this will save room in my backpack, or this will save me time to focus on hunting or camping and just being with my friends or family, or this will be better for me because of the way it cooks. Like those components and not just the product will push the narrative of success over just the feature.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. All right, Kent, we're coming towards the end of our interview. So first thing is, tell us how we can find you if we're a founder or an investor. Like, what is the action we need to take?
Pitch.com is still live. We've converted into the cut and the website will be live here soon. But for now, just go to pitch.com and you can register for the pilot or reach out directly. There's an email there that you can reach out directly to me and talk about what you're working on and see if I can help with next steps. So
awesome. So tell us about where the pilot is airing and who's the best person to go and attend.
So this will be a TV pilot filming event. We'll be doing it the day before Sundance Film Festival. It is a closed to public event. So it is you're welcome to register if you are raising your actual round, your high net worth individual, investor, that type of thing. That's welcome in the room. For everybody else, you're welcome to sponsor.
Oh my God, I love it. Bada boom.
We've got some amazing things lined up, and the companies that are coming to present have just been announced. So we've got 8 amazing founders, 7 of which had been on the road, not on the road, but like throughout the cities that we had toured on the 15 city tour. So they've been pulled from that list. So we know they're credible. They performed already. We know what's going on. Most have already received a lot of investment cash because of the journey. And even outside of that, we've helped fund almost 9 million year to date in companies. So this isn't something that we're just kind of passively doing. This is really hopefully impactful to the bottom line, which is real deal flow for investors and hopefully opportunity for the founder to have investment capital.
Love it. And where can we follow along on the journey of the show? Like what social media platforms? Where should we go?
I do a lot with LinkedIn. That'd probably be the easiest.
All right, Great. We'll make sure that that's in the show notes. So now my favorite question. What is the most rascal thing you have ever done in business, Kent?
I mean, creating this was definitely a crazy situation. I'd say the coming up TV pilot has been really interesting. So we didn't put it in with Sundance Film Festival exactly. We're piggybacking off of Sundance Film Festival. So the day before, we're going to be doing the pilot, but inadvertently, we have a lot of the celebrities and athletes that'll actually be attending the film event to come to ours. So, I mean, in a little way, that's a little rascal, a little sneaky and wacky in the sense of how we're capitalizing on it.
Well, I think that your entire brand actually embodies the rascal energy, from the naming to the reversing of the structure of the pitch to now the show. So I can't wait to be part of it. I'm like, can't wait to see the first episode and to support you. I'm going to do my best to be there for the pilot and just wishing you so much success. Is there anything that I forgot to ask you that you want to talk about?
Get to the show, submit others that should be involved. I think that's the biggest component that we've already talked about, but that's the biggest win for others is get them involved with pitch. Well, the cut.
Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kent, for being here. And till next time, have fun. Have fun building a business.
Let's go.
Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the six-figure strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpstra.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.